Knowing the basic parts of a handgun and their function is important when first learning to shoot. When a part of the gun is mentioned, you will need to know what it does and where it is located. The following are the parts of the revolver and their function. The frame, the chassis of the revolver which all other parts are connected to. The hammer, a device which is located on the top rear of the weapon. When the trigger is squeezed, the hammer falls and drives the firing pin against the primer of the cartridge. This ignites the powder, which creates tremendous gas pressure and sends the bullet down the barrel. The trigger, the curved piece which, when pressed, allows the hammer to fall. The trigger guard, the loop which protects the trigger from being pressed accidentally and from damage. The front and rear sights, the devices on top of the barrel that are used to aim the weapon. The firing pin, a pin which is located in the frame or hammer which strikes the primer of the cartridge after the hammer falls. The extractor, a device located in the center of the cylinder which simultaneously withdraws the fired cases from the chamber when the extractor rod is depressed. The cylinder, the cylindrical shaped piece which contains anywhere from 5 to 9 holes that holds the cartridges. This allows them to be rotated into battery under the firing pin hole, where they can be fired when the firing pin strikes the primer. The cylinder release latch, a button on the left side of the frame which, when depressed, releases the cylinder from its firing position. The barrel, the steel portion in front of the cylinder which guides the bullet away from the gun after firing. The following are the parts of the semi-automatic pistol and their function. The frame, the chassis of the pistol that all other parts are connected to. The magazine, a device which stores additional ammunition until it is ready to be fired. The magazine release, when depressed, allows the magazine to be removed from the pistol. The trigger guard, the loop which protects the trigger from being pressed accidentally and protects it from damage. The trigger, the curved piece which, when pressed, allows the hammer or firing pin to fall. The front and rear sights, the devices on top of the barrel that are used to aim the weapon. The slide, the top portion of the pistol which shrouds the barrel, chamber, recoil spring, and firing pin. It is responsible for sliding across the magazine and chambering a new round. This piece also contains the extractor and ejector which remove the spent cartridge. The extractor, a small hook that grabs the rim of the cartridge and pulls it from the chamber. The ejector, a small pin-like device that contacts the rear of the cartridge as it is being extracted and causes it to flip out of the ejection port. The ejection port, the cutout in the slide that allows the spent cartridge to escape. The recoil spring, compresses during the recoil and provides the slide with stored energy so it can return to its forward position. The recoil spring guide, a slender post that guides the recoil spring and allows it to compress in a straight line. The chamber, where the cartridge comes to rest during the firing process. It is located at the rearward portion of the barrel and is reinforced with extra steel so it can withstand the high gas pressures that are created during firing. The barrel, the steel tube that the bullet travels through as it passes through the pistol. The barrel contains some type of rifling that causes the bullet to spin and maintain accuracy. The firing pin, the pin contained inside the rear of the slide that strikes the primer after being rapidly moved forward. The following are the parts of a cartridge. The bullet, the lead portion at the front of the cartridge that is ejected during firing. It is sometimes fully or partially covered in copper, which prevents deformation during loading and chambering and dictates expansion into a target. The casing, the brass tube closed at the bottom that contains a powder charge, the primer, and holds the bullet in place. the primer. A small cylindrical cap that sits flush in the base of the casing that, when struck by the firing pin, ignites the powder charge. This powder charge quickly burns and creates tremendous gas pressure that forces the bullet out of the other end and down the barrel of the gun.